When I pulled into the driveway of our family ranch, the sight of three strangers in neon vests drilling next to our fence stopped me cold. I thought we were being robbed by the boldest construction crew in history. My mom, Clara, sat on the porch, a shotgun resting across her lap and a coffee mug in her hand, looking like this was just another sunny afternoon. One of the workers glanced my way and shouted, "This doesn't concern you. We're with the HOA." I froze. There's no HOA within 10 miles of our land. Clara muttered from the swing, "They're trespassing, but they brought coffee and nerve, so I'm letting them dig their own grave." She wasn't kidding. I killed the engine and stepped out, the air thick with the smell of fresh dirt and gasoline. The men were knee-deep in a trench along our fence line, one operating a small auger, while the others barked orders like it was a government-sanctioned operation. A white pickup with magnetic signs reading Bright Meadows Community Crew blocked half the path to our barn. I approached the trench and asked what they were doing. The guy with the shovel didn't even look up. "Community trenching. Beautification project. We'll be gone soon," he said, like I was interrupting his lunch break. I've been away for 6 days, helping a buddy move equipment upstate, and now strangers were tearing up my parents' ranch like they owned it. I glanced at Clara, still glued to her swing. "You call the sheriff?" I asked. She sipped her coffee. "Yup. They're tied up with a DUI and a cow loose in a diner." "True story." Told them we'd handle it ranch style. I raised an eyebrow. "Ranch style." She winked. "You'll see." I strolled toward the trench, waving politely but stone-faced. "Hey, fellas, just to be clear, you've got whose permission to do this?" The foreman, a red-faced guy named Mitch with mirrored sunglasses and a clipboard he wielded like a scepter, finally turned to me. "This property's under the community resolution passed last month. New HOA zoning. Paperwork's coming." I squinted. "Funny, cause county zoning says this land's private agricultural, untouched since '73. He shrugged. "Zoning evolves." Just then, my dad, Hank, emerged from the barn, grease on his hands and a scowl etched deep. "They had me thinking they were county workers for about 5 minutes," he growled. "Then they asked where our water shutoff valve is." That's when I smelled the rat. I pulled out my phone and called the county zoning office. The clerk, who knew our ranch well, confirmed no zoning changes, no utility requests, and definitely no HOA approval to dig. She added that our land was a conservation zone, making it even more restricted. I turned to the crew. "You've got 30 seconds to stop digging and move your truck." Mitch scoffed. "Or what? You gonna write a complaint?" I didn't answer. Instead, I unhitched our hay trailer and backed it up, stacking a wall of bales 3 high behind their truck. Then I swung Dad's old tractor across the secondary path. They weren't going anywhere. Clara clapped lightly from a porch. The youngest worker, pale and gripping his shovel, whispered, "Boss, they're serious." Mitch paced, muttering about easements and technicalities, clearly unprepared for resistance. He tried reasoning. "You can't trap us here. That's illegal." I smiled. "So is digging on private land without a permit. These bales? Just a farming coincidence." I sat on the trailer hitch, snapping photos of the trench, the truck, even Mitch's precious clipboard. I called the sheriff again, this time reporting unauthorized excavation by non-county personnel. The dispatcher's tone sharpened, promising a deputy once the DUI was processed. She urged us to keep it civil. I agreed, civil but cunning. Mitch tried another angle. "We're doing community maintenance, per the HOA charter. Take it up at the board meeting Friday." I stood, staring into his sunglasses. "We're not in your HOA. Never were. You've got 30 seconds to leave before this becomes a criminal investigation." He waved his crew to pack up, but their truck was pinned tight. One worker tried climbing the bales, only to tumble into a patch of burrs. Another muttered, "Told you we shouldn't have come this far." Our goat, Betsy, wandered over, licking their truck and nibbling a neon vest dangling from the mirror. Nobody stopped her. Hank brought out lemonade, whispering, "Never thought I'd say this, but those bales earned their keep." Clara added, "Was saving him for the livestock show. Guess they're law enforcement now." The crew fumbled, tried to lift the dense bales, and failing. A sheriff's deputy finally rolled up, surveyed the scene, and said, "This will be fun to write up." Mitch launched into a flurry of excuses, but the deputy cut him off. "Save it before I charge you with first-degree stupidity." The deputy took his time, jotting notes and snapping photos of the trench. He asked careful questions, shaking his head at Mitch's answers. I handed him our laminated zoning certificate and deed, courtesy of Clara's obsessive filing. He skimmed them, then turned to Mitch. "Got anything showing you're allowed to dig here?" Mitch held up his clipboard like it was the Constitution. HOA Expansion Protocol, Section 7C. "We don't need individual permission for shared borders." The deputy stared. "That only applies inside HOA boundaries." Mitch flipped through his papers, stammering about maps in flux. I couldn't resist. Maps in flux? Sounds like what you say when you're caught trespassing and want to play dumb. Hank chuckled. The deputy asked for a map proving our land was HOA territory. Mitch had nothing but excuses about pending digitization. The deputy's patience thinned. He ordered the crew to stop all activity and stay put for a report. Mitch protested about other stops, but the deputy shut him down. "You're not held up by a confused owner. You're held up by an investigation." 10 minutes later, a black SUV with a vanity plate reading RULR1 screeched in. Out stepped Lorraine, the HOA president, clutching a binder and strutting like she was late for TED Talk. "What's the holdup?" she demanded. Mitch rambled, but the deputy waved him off. "Ma'am, explain why your crew's trenching private land outside your district." Lorraine flipped open her binder with flair, citing Section 7C and community trenching for water flow. I tap her page. "That's the same invalid rule your guy quoted. We're not in your HOA." Her smile tightened. The lines were redrawn at the last vote. The deputy raised an eyebrow. "Was that vote filed with the county?" Lorraine's jaw clenched. "It's in process." I pressed. "So you dug before confirming authority?" She grinned wider. "We're maintaining, not digging." The deputy glanced at the trench. "Looks like digging." Clara snorted from the porch. "Lady, we live 2 miles from anyone. Only thing integrated here's the coyotes." Lorraine's mouth twitched, clearly rattled by a shotgun-toting grandma in denim. She thrust a crude map from her binder. Our land circled as a shared green zone. The deputy examined it. "This isn't legal, and green zone isn't a zoning term." Hank handed over our official county maps, showing our clear boundaries and conservation status. The deputy nodded. "This is what we go by." Lorraine's binder looked more like a scrapbook of delusions. The deputy issued violation notices and called for backup to verify identities. Lorraine tried a new tack. "If you block our vehicle, we'll sue." I grinned. "We're just farmers. He's got to go somewhere." The crew wilted. Betsy climbed into their truck bed, sniffing tools. I called the zoning office again, reporting the fake maps. The clerk paused. "They claimed your land was HOA controlled." "That's false. This is escalating." I relayed this to the deputy, whose eyebrows shot up. He turned to Lorraine. "Falsifying zoning claims to a county office is a felony. You get that?" Her face fell. Clara raised her mug. "Smile, honey. You're going viral." A news van rolled in, a cameraman leaping out to film. The reporter, in a bright blazer, made a beeline for Hank. A neighbor had tipped her off, having caught the scene on video. This wasn't the HOA's first overreach, but it was their sloppiest. Hank, calm and deadpan, explained how they dug without permission and got trapped by misplaced hay. The reporter grilled Lorraine. "Did you falsify zoning claims?" The driveway went silent. The sheriff arrived, his presence commanding instant respect. He reviewed the deputy's notes, muttering about Lorraine's history with a road-widening scam. He skimmed her emails, which claimed anticipated approval, but no actual permission. "Trespassing on a guess isn't how we roll," he said. A deputy found forged zoning forms in Lorraine's SUV, one with a fake officer signature. The sheriff's tone hardened. "Denise, you're not just trespassing. Forging documents is serious." The crew was detained for the investigation, their tools seized. The news crew captured everything, from Betsy chewing a vest to Lorraine's defeated slump. The sheriff thanked us for staying cool and using hay instead of fists. Strangest standoff I've seen, but damn effective, he said. Hank nodded. Hay's not just for cows. By morning, the story exploded. The news aired it with a headline about rogue HOA antics, the hay-bale blockade stealing the show. A clip of Lorraine flustered while Betsy munched her clipboard went viral, racking up thousands of shares. The zoning board called to apologize, confirming tampered records and promising legal action. The environmental office found the trench violated state erosion protections, triggering further probes. Lorraine resigned that day. Her board, blindsided, called it a personal crusade gone wrong. The crew's landscaping firm cut ties, and lawsuits loomed. We moved the Bales, but not before Clara spray-painted one. Not HOA, not yours. The sheriff sent a thank you note, praising our restraint and noting that hay bales kept things from going sideways. A neighbor shared drone photos of the standoff, cinematic shots we framed in the barn. The county suspended HOA expansion requests, uncovering more falsified filings. Other landowners came forward, exposing the HOA's quiet bullying. We added a sign to our fence, private land, no HOA. Trespassers meet the Bales. Life settled, but the fight reminded me why we guard our peace so fiercely. What do you think about this showdown? Should the family have escalated sooner, or was their hay bale tactic the perfect balance of brains and backbone? Drop your thoughts in the comments, especially on how far you'd go to protect your rights against injustice or overreach. Let's hear your stance.